All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a story that honestly sounds like it's straight out of a horror movie, but it might just be real. We're talking about one of the most chilling maritime mysteries of all time, the ghost ship, the SS Orang Medan.
So it all kicks off with this absolutely terrifying final message. Just 2 words, that's it. I die. This came from a Dutch freighter called the SS Orang Medan, and these 2 words, well, they're the start of a puzzle that has left people scratching their heads for more than 70 years.
Okay, so to really get what's happening here, we gotta rewind. Picture this. It's a calm day, February 1948, out in the Strait of Malacca. You know, that super busy shipping lane between Malaysia and Indonesia. The water's calm, skies are clear, just a totally normal day at sea. Or so it seemed.
And then, bam! That calm is just completely shattered. Ships in the area start picking up this frantic series of messages. First, it's a pretty standard SOS, asking for a doctor. But then, just moments later, it gets way, way worse. The next message says, probably all crew are dead. Can you imagine hearing that? The ship sends its position, and then comes this messy, garbled Morse code that you can barely make out, except for those 2 final crystal-clear words we just saw.
And after that, just radio silence. Nothing. The operators on the other ships, they're trying to raise them, trying to get a response, but there's no reply. For anyone listening in on that channel, it was obvious. Something absolutely horrible had just gone down on the Orang Medan.
So the closest ship, an American merchant vessel called the Silver Star, they hear this and immediately change course. They're racing toward the Orang Medan's last known coordinates. And you've got to think, what's going through their heads, right? Did pirates attack? Is the ship sinking? They had no clue what they were about to sail into.
So after a few hours, they finally spot it on the horizon. But what they see, well, it makes no sense at all. The Orang Medan is just floating there. It's in perfect condition, there's no damage, no smoke, it's definitely not sinking. It's just sitting there on the water, completely silent.
The crew of the Silver Star is, you can imagine, totally confused. I mean, a steamship like that should be chugging out smoke, right? But there's nothing. They're shouting over their loudspeaker, blasting the ship's horn, trying to get any kind of response. The only thing they hear back is the sound of waves lapping against the hull. The ship was just dead in the water, totally, unnervingly still.
All right, at this point, the captain of the Silver Star knows he has to do something. He puts together a boarding party to go over and figure out what in the world is going on. And let me tell you, what they found on that ship, it was straight out of a nightmare.
The entire crew was dead. Every single one of them. Their bodies were just lying everywhere, on the decks, on the bridge, in the chart room, the captain, the officers, everyone. It was a horrifying scene of mass death.
But here's where it gets really, really weird. It wasn't just that they were dead. It was how they looked. Every single person, right down to the deckhands, was frozen solid, with this look of absolute, pure terror on their faces. Their eyes were wide open, mouths hanging agape. A lot of them had their arms stretched out, almost like they were fending something off that wasn't there. Even the ship's dog was dead, frozen in the middle of a snarl. And the radio operator? They found him right at his post, his finger still resting on the Morse code key.
And this is the absolute core of the mystery. For all the horror etched on their faces, there wasn't a mark on any of them. No wounds, no bruises, no signs of a fight. Nothing. It's as if they were all, and I mean this literally, scared to death.
So the captain of the Silver Star, he's completely shaken by this gruesome scene, right? But he makes a call. They have to tow this ghost ship to the nearest port. Somebody has to figure out what happened here. The world needs answers.
But just as they start attaching the tow lines, everything goes sideways. Suddenly, smoke starts pouring out from deep inside the ship's hull, from cargo hold number 4. Then, within seconds, a huge fire just erupts out of nowhere. The boarding party has to scramble, run for their lives to get back to their own ship. And just as they get clear, the whole thing explodes. A massive, violent explosion.
And just like that, in a matter of minutes, the Orang Medan sank beneath the waves. The ship, its crew, and any chance of finding physical evidence, all gone, lost to the sea forever. The only thing left was the story told by the horrified crew of the Silver Star. So what do you do with a story like that? You've got no ship, no bodies, nothing to examine. It's no surprise the story of the Orang Medan immediately became a legend, right? It's been fueling speculation and all kinds of wild theories for decades.
Now here's a wrinkle. People who tried to look into this story later on, they hit a major roadblock. There's no official record of any ship in the Orang Medan ever existing. But, and this is a big but, that doesn't mean it's not true. See, right after World War II, things were chaotic. It was super common for ships to use fake names or be completely unregistered, especially if they were smuggling illegal stuff. And then the plot thickens. Fast forward decades to 2003. The CIA declassifies a bunch of old files, and guess what's in there? A letter from 1958 written by an assistant to the director of the CIA himself that describes this whole incident in detail. Now, this doesn't solve the mystery, but it proves one thing for sure. The story was real enough to be on the CIA's radar.
Okay, so based on everything we know, people have basically landed on three main theories. First up is the most scientific one, the chemical cargo theory. The idea is the ship was smuggling some nasty, unstable chemicals, maybe something like potassium cyanide mixed with nitroglycerin. A leak would release a toxic gas, killing the crew instantly without leaving a mark. And the nitroglycerin, well, that would explain the big explosion later. Then there's the covert mission theory. This one points to the ship being unregistered, and the CIA's interest is clues that it was carrying something secret, maybe even biological weapons from Japan's infamous Unit 731. And finally, you've got the supernatural theory. This one basically says, hold on, no chemical can put that exact same look of pure horror on every single person's face. That suggests they saw something terrifying and unseen.
And get this, that declassified CIA letter? It suggested the stakes here were way bigger than just one ship. The author actually wrote that if they could figure out what happened to the Orang Medan, it might unlock the secrets to a bunch of other unsolved disappearances. Crazy, right?
So, at the end of the day, while we'll probably never know for sure, the most logical, scientific explanation seems to be the chemical leak. I mean, it just ticks all the boxes, right? The instant, injury-free deaths, the fire, the explosion that just so happened to wipe out all the evidence. It all fits.
But of course, the real truth of the Orang Medan went down with the ship. Was it just a horrible accident? A secret mission that went catastrophically wrong? Or was it something else entirely? The silent, terrified faces of that crew are a pretty chilling reminder that some mysteries just get swallowed by the ocean. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other secrets are still down there, just waiting at the bottom of the sea?